Coming up in this Brightline Construction update, this update looks at Brightline's Orlando Vehicle Maintenance Facility. The facility is located on the south side of Orlando International Airport under the approaches for the western runways. On the west end of the facility is the interchange to the OUC CSX Stanton Rail Line, in the middle is the main shop building, and on the east side is the train wash and track headed to the station. We'll start here just off Boggy Creek Road, where the new access road crosses over the OUC CSX Stanton Rail Line at a new crossing. Coming down the road and taking a turn brings us to the actual entrance to the facility. The sign here was recently installed. And here's where the gate will be to restrict access into the facility. Here's a general overview of the VMF from above the gate. On the hill here is the construction mock-up. Everything, from the foundation to the paint, that has been done on the main building was first mocked up here, and all parties agreed on how it would be done to form the building standard. That way, construction crews had something to come back to reference as the main building was completed. The trailers here are the temporary construction offices. This is the main shop building. It houses the three main shop tracks, a locomotive shop, truck shop, warehouse, and administration buildings. The administration offices here on the end is the final piece to be worked on. The finishing touches are still being completed on the main building to prepare it for occupation. We'll shift to the ground here at the entrance for a drive through the facility. The rightmost door here is the track into the locomotive shop, and the second provides access to the associated workspace to bring in parts and materials. Storage space is on the right here. This bump out is for a loading dock. And the offices are on the right here. Straight ahead is the fuel farm. Back in the air, and we are headed toward the connection with the OUC CSX Stanton Rail Line, which provides access to the rest of the United States rail system. This was filmed 4 days before Bright Blue 2 was delivered, so the finishing touches were being completed on the track to get it ready. Now flying toward the building, there are 5 tracks that pass through the full site. The right 3 tracks lead to the main shop building. Eventually, as Brightline's trains are lengthened, the main shop building will be extended out to where the curves begin on those tracks. The leftmost track, closest to the camera, completely bypasses the building. The second track from the left passes through the bump out in the building containing a wheel truing machine. That machine removes any defects in the wheels to provide the smoothest ride possible and reduces wear and tear on the rails. The big yellow silo will hold the sand the trains use for traction. The large metal frame will support the sand piping. This is also a fuel pad for the locomotives. In the middle of the associated equipment is a Snyder fuel crane, which is what is actually used to fuel the locomotives. The small building holds some of the associated pumps. Over here at the fuel farm, there are 2 40,000-gallon tanks that will provide a total of 80,000 gallons of fuel for the trains. The smaller tank on the right is for diesel emissions fluid, which is used to help meet the Tier 4 emissions requirements for the locomotive engines. Back on the road, here's the Tamper Crossing this construction road. Had Bright Blue 2 not arrived 4 days later, this would have likely been the first Railfan video of anything moving on the trackage here. And now we'll drive all the way to the east end of the facility. The area where this road is will eventually have storage tracks installed, as Brightline's fleet is further expanded from the 10 trains they will use when service to Orlando begins. back in the air, and this is where the tracks will depart the facility and head to the station. Track work is still being completed on this end of the facility. The tracks will cross an airport service road and curve left to the station. Ballast had just been dropped on these tracks, and they still need to be regulated and tamped. And this is the train wash building. This will house a highly efficient system that will allow trains to be cleaned before heading out for service. Crews were installing the system inside as I was flying. And this is the facility's Y, which will allow locomotives to be turned as needed. Brightline will be receiving an additional locomotive soon, so one can always be out for maintenance, and this will allow it to be turned for use on either end of the train. 2 specialty ballast cars were parked on it. The massive retention pond on the left was dug to provide fill for the site. This part of the airport's property was originally a swamp, so the entire site was raised by at least 4 feet to provide dry ground for the facility to be built upon. Crews are still building the track entering this side of the shop. Track work had primarily been focused on the other side so that it would be ready for trains to be delivered, so work is now shifted here. The track on the far left will go into the locomotive shop. And now we'll drive back to the main entrance. I was not able to go inside the building, with the work being finished inside, but 2 of the tracks have full-length inspection pits so crews can inspect the undersides of the train. The 3rd track has a drop table connecting with the truck shop so trucks can be swapped out under the cars without having to lift the car. And here's a look 4 days later of Bright Blue 2 at the facility, becoming the first train to call the VMF home. To see the full delivery of the train, check out the link above. I would like to thank Brightline for letting me come out to see the progress here. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Also check out my social media pages.